Yo.
Hello, welcome back to the Deep Show. This is episode 7, and we are here with Dave, and I'm Jackie, and we're here with Kyle, our special guest.
What?
What up?
Did you know she was calling you?
Of course.
I didn't know she was calling you. She just said, we gotta do this now. And I was like, we're not even finished watching this show that we were just watching. And then she paused it. And I was like, let's just finish. We got like 10 minutes left. And then all of a sudden she's calling somebody. I didn't even know who she was calling. My man.
Yeah.
Good. I love you, man. I'm glad to see you on here.
Yeah, buddy. Glad to be on the Davey show.
The Dave Show, huh?
Are you in your car?
Well, yeah, I have a toddler, so this is about the only place that it's not loud.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's no other reason I'm in my car at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday.
She got you up at night.
Park or Disneyland, you know what I mean?
Kyle sleeps in his car. This is the life of an artist. We wanted to talk about pay of an artist today. If you can afford a car, you have shelter.
You are doing great if you can afford a car. That's how that goes in the world of art.
That's funny. That's awesome.
So my topic today is the ideas room. So when we are pitching ideas and we have to kind of go through all of our ideas and make sure that that those ideas get heard, how do we pitch our ideas, make sure they get heard, but then when somebody says, no, don't like it, never gonna happen, how do we just move on from that? Like, what does it look like when you're going into that meeting of 20 ideas and all of your ideas get killed, or you have to fight for an idea?
You stay up again all night and do it all over again. But hold on 1 second before we get into the ideas. You know, Kyle is, we've been friends for a long time now, and Kyle, we actually went to school together at the Art Institute, and and then we became friends, and then we became roommates. And so we lived together down in San Diego and Ocean Beach. And Kyle and I were like, created a real strong bond, a real strong friendship. And, it's lasted a long, long time. What, like 20 years now or something like that almost, or 18 or something like that. It's coming up. But, we just we set up our desk. And every night, we jammed together. So, like, we've been designing and working together for a long time. And, we had our desk side by side in our apartment, and, Kyle, like myself, we would, we love what we do, and we'd always be jamming, and we stay up around the clock. And, many nights it'd be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, sunrise is coming up, we're looking outside of our window, and we're still designing something, or we're still getting ready for the presentation, the next day. And it's like, oh shit, we got to be at school, at 8 in the morning or whatever it is. It's 5 in the morning now. We haven't really slept. So just that's a little backstory, on, who Kyle is and, how we kind of came together. And, that kind of probably leads into this, when in the ideas room, when things get killed, and, how you go back to, what do? We stay up until we feel the job is done and the job is done right, and until we're comfortable with, having something that we can actually confidently present.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's when you knew you were getting down to the wires, when those parents would start squawking at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and you'd be like, okay, got to get this presentation done. That was a good time. We definitely took that apartment and essentially turned it into a little design studio. And we had so many late nights, so much fun, and just batting around ideas until the sun came up. It was good times. And yeah, Davey's been my man for, God, forever. So, yeah.
So I think that's kind of what, when we have presentations, like ideas get killed, and you kind of haven't, made it through that next thing, or you're presenting and you're really confident about something. But sometimes, it's just, the people on the other side, it's not really feeling it maybe, or we didn't do a good enough job explaining it, or really selling, or bringing them into the fold. So when that happens, sometimes you either, can try again and redo the presentation, kind of think, have an honest conversation and kind of get to a point, of, either compromise or kind of, just trusting each other and getting that idea out, or, sometimes you just kind of bail on it, and you realize that wasn't the right thing, maybe that you presented in the first place, and you go back to the drawing board and you do it again. You kind of rethink some things, and usually that allows you to kind of come back and, think deeper and add a little bit more meaning to it, or, sometimes doing it all over again, leads you a whole different path. So, many times we'd go in there and present something and be like, shit, that didn't really work out. Let's round 2, round 3.
Round 4, round 5, final version, final version 1. Yeah, all of those. I mean, it's an endless battle of constant changes. And I think the best thing I ever heard was Alfonso Rawls. He's a footwear designer, and he told me a long time ago. He said, "Don't get married to your ideas." And I think that was one of the best things as like a young, hot-headed designer that I could have ever heard. Because I mean, I don't think you could have told me that I wasn't the shit, back in the day. And I don't think you could tell me that nowadays. I mean, I think that's like the resolve that you have to have in order to keep pushing through the endless sea of no's that you hear every day.
Yeah.
I think the creative industry is like, it's such a beauty, but this topic is like the double edge of the sword. Like, it is the other side where like, yeah, you get to be creative, you get to pitch fun ideas, you get to like have like fun and passion in your job, but then on a daily basis you get to go into work and have people be like, yeah, no, fuck that, we don't like it, like this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you even come up with this? And you're like, let me explain it, because I don't think you heard it right. I don't even care. I literally don't care about the theory or the research you did. I just personally don't like it. And you're like, oh, okay, like you know what? Could you give me some insight? And they're like, no. Do what I want. And you're like, okay, let me hit the late night for a little bit more and come back with some more ideas. And I think that is like, that's that edge that a lot of people, I don't think, know comes with the territory. And I've managed some younger designers throughout my career, and it's always a pleasure to watch them come in and be like so absolute in their like resolve and be like, this is it.
Yeah.
There is no other idea but this idea.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's cool, and I'll try to help guide them into ways to maybe, help it be a little bit more like attainable or understandable for the audience that they're pitching it to. And I love when they'll just look at me and be like, no, I'm not changing it. And I'm like, okay, fair. And then they go into that meeting, because I'll be the first to admit that I don't know shit. Like, I don't know anything that I'm doing. Like, it could be a great idea, it could be a bad idea. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, like, there's a myriad of people that are going to make that decision, especially like, whether it's in advertising or product design or any kind of design. At the end of the day, there's so many people that have to co-sign or stamp onto these ideas that it's an ever changing thing. So I like it when they go in and I give them some pointers, and they totally abandon those pointers and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I just sit back with a grin on my face as we go into the meeting, and then I watch their world get crumbled. And then we can have a chat about like, hey, that sucked, right? I'm sorry that rug got pulled out from underneath you. But in the future, how can we make sure that we're targeting our audience? And I think Dave is so great at that, and that's one thing that I've always admired about him throughout the career. Is he's always been really good at like targeting the audience,
But we've all been there. We've all been there, right? Like, we did the same thing. We'd go and like, this is the shit. Let's go and present that shit and whatever. And people would be like, I'm not really sure about that, And we were like, nah, fuck that. This is incredible. This is great. This is the one that we're going with. That we go in and we've been on that same side of the table. It was like, shit, that didn't go over well. Fuck, that sucked. And
I think it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage. Like, everybody has to get burned, and they have to get burned, otherwise they won't learn.
And that's why people say, it's like, it may be cliche, but people say, you gotta fail, and you gotta feel it, and you gotta go through those motions to actually understand that shit. Like, if you never hear those, and you never hear like, you're just gonna go with that arrogance or that confidence or whatever. And confidence is always good, and you need it, but you also need to feel that embarrassment, feel all that work that you put into something, and then go in there and have it flop or not go over well or whatever, to be able to evolve, and how do you do it better that next time. But it is just so funny that, now being on that other side, doing it for so long, that, we can watch that same thing. It's like, because I'm the kind of guy that wants, teams to go in with whatever they have, and I want them to feel that passion. I don't want to be the guy to kill it, and I'll provide the advice and provide the guidance and all this kinds of stuff. But it's like, at the end of the day, you're passionate about this shit, just as I was passionate about my first ideas that I was coming in with, and you need to go in there and feel that, because it's never easy to go sell something else or sell somebody else's shit or something that you don't really believe in. So if you don't give them that chance to do that, then you don't really learn from it.
Have you guys ever heard that the saying "pitch don't bitch"?
No.
Okay, so
No.
pitch don't bitch is you pitch your ideas, and then once they get killed, and we're moving on. When somebody else has an idea, you try to build off of the other person's idea. So try to help out the other person, because that's the only thing that you can do. Like, let's stop going back to the drawing board. We don't have that much time. You don't want to be the person like really trying to defend your idea anymore. You just want to move on, and let's build off of the other person's idea, because if they just keep killing ideas, then then it's like the marketing team like the executives, they win, and they're not the creatives. So we got to all stick together.
Yeah, you see that a lot. You see that you're building ideas, and it's kind of even within the internal teams, right? There's the sense of like pride and ego, whatever it may be, that like, shit, I want my idea to win. I want my idea to be the one that gets picked. I want my idea, and like, as you evolve and as you grow in the industry, it's kind of like you just start to learn that like, we just want the idea, the best idea, the thing to be the idea. And it doesn't have to be mine. It doesn't have to be yours or whatever. And like, how do we just get to the best thing? And then that collaboration ends up, leading you to something really incredible, because you start to really, step back, not me versus you, get my idea on the wall, get my idea in the deck, but it's more about like, let's get the best shit out there, hopefully, and present some dope shit, and hopefully sell it and do it together.
Yeah, that's where collaboration becomes key, right? At the end of the day, like Jackie was saying, like, you do want the idea to come from your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're trying to make sure that you're appeasing, you're challenging, but also appeasing the higher ups, because you're obviously typically looking to push something out there that's a little bit more like on the edge than what's like already out there, right? Like, from a design point of view, I think everybody's kind of looking to push the needle a little bit. So you'd rather have that push coming from your internal team than from like people that are just like, make the logo bigger, if you have to say it like that. And always, forever, you're always trying to like, take it with stride, and I think that's the thing. I think, even, 18 to 20 years in the industry, sometimes it still stings when you put 40 hours into a concept, and you walk in, and within 5 seconds it's judged and thrown on the ground, and you're like, no, like, it's deeper than that, and they're like, yeah, well, it's not to me.
Not to me.
Yeah, and I think I think that's one of those things that, like, to continue throughout the industry for as long as you can, you have to find collaboration. You have to lean on your other creatives. You have to understand that, like, hey, you know what? Not every idea is the best idea, and find the challenge in being like, okay, you don't like that idea, and you're not going to give me anything to work with. Like, I will solve you. Yeah. Like, everyone is a Rubik's Cube at the end of the day. And no matter how jumbled up it is, like, it is your mission and your job to solve that Rubik's Cube. Yep. And provide something that, comes together nicely and can go out into the market or to the consumers, and it can draw attention. So, it's like, how do you solve this person? And I think that's something that me coming from a young designer into the old person I am nowadays, I think that's been the struggle for a long time, and I think it's like the constant evolution of it. And now getting into more like managerial positions and working with younger talent, it's awesome to like put your own ego aside, step back, and watch them bloom. Yeah. And give them the pathway to create like that. And yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, we're always just struggling to find that next idea. And I think that that's the beauty of design or ideation.
Yeah, I think, and we were even, you talked about something, we were even lucky to, meet in some of these same classes growing up, and we were lucky to, like, find some of the same teachers that really, helped us and guided us to kind of find our own ways and, things, and, like, to think really conceptual and think really deep. And like you said, like, you go into a meeting, you're like, there's so much thought behind this thing, and if somebody doesn't even give it a chance of that 5 minutes or that 5 seconds, and you're like, not to me, it's not deep. But like, Henry was one of our old teachers, and became a really good friend in life, and he kind of taught us a lot about concepts and just to really think strategically and to think about, the tension behind things and deep ideas. And it's just funny because, sometimes and also you got to understand elevator pitches, because you go in there with all this thought, all this deep, passion and underlying, storytelling thought. But if you don't hit it right off the bat, people like Kyle was saying, it's like, not to me, it's not a deep, it's not to me, it's not a concept, whatever it may be. But you don't even get to the point of the punch of these things. So it's that balance of understanding, deep conceptual thought, but also being able to sell it and kind of, what's the headline?
What's the headline? Do not say elevator pitch.
Yeah,
people seem to think that those are like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah,
I've never been in an elevator 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, no. What's the headline? What's the headline? And what's that thing? So yeah, it's funny, and it's interesting because we both, I think, that's why we always really love working together too, because we do think really deep and passionately about our stuff and our work and our ideas. And it's just funny also to see like the different paths that we took in the industry too. Like, right, we both graduated, I think, with graphic design as our in school. But then it's awesome, like, I went more to the advertising route, and to work, advertising side of things, and from a design perspective, but also, ideas and all that stuff. And then Kyle went into, and he's always been fashion and footwear, and, his brilliant footwear designer that's worked at a lot of incredible places, and like really started to bring, all these places, into their own, and and it's fun to watch him. And I still collect all of his sneakers. I have them all in my closet, and it's
we don't
fun
have the space, Kyle,
for all of his sneakers.
Could you just stop?
So every time Kyle makes a new sneaker, he either sends me one or we get, we go out and get one, and it's just kind of fun to see from all these different places. So I have all his conceptual shoes, and like he's always been pitching these conceptual shoes at all the places that he's worked, and it's been pretty incredible because I just kind of collect them now. But there's a lot of deep thought behind this work, and it's funny because sometimes I'm like, shit, I wish I could have designed a shoe, or I wish I could be doing some more of that. And like just together we kind of found our own paths, but through the same type of going to school for the same type of things. Anyway, all leading back to conceptual thought and just to kind of deep storytelling and things like that. And it's just kind of fun to see where we all kind of end up and where it leads us.
I do want to be clear on something. Like we all kind of laughed, and a nice little evil laugh when we said these young creatives go in and they have their ideas killed, and ha 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 ha. We all laugh. I just want to like let everybody know that, like, especially if there's a young creative listening, we're laughing because it happened to us. We're really happy that it's happening in front of us because we are so empathetic to you versus some of the people that weren't empathetic to us.
Yeah.
And we're happy to be there for you and catch you in this moment when you fall, because we have so much advice for you. Mm-hmm. Versus like we have an evil little laugh. It's more of like a, oh yeah, we all fell in that.
We all felt that. We've all felt that same shit, that sting, I
don't want them to think like
no.
We're all dickheads.
Yeah. Back to 4:00 in the morning because it's due again the next day. It's like, fuck, that didn't go well. Oh, it's due again tomorrow. It's like, what the fuck? Here we go.
Yeah, that's a trauma response.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That laugh is just a trauma response.
Yeah, exactly. That trauma, that built up.
And we got
trauma.
punched.
Yeah. and I think the nice thing too is like Jackie's saying is like us in the position that we're in. We're laughing with you because we felt that pain. And the beauty of it is like we're not the type to try to kill your design before you go into that session. Even if we know it's probably not going to work, we still don't want to, like, we never want to be the ones to put out the light or to put out the flame that you have. I will temper your expectations by giving you my points of views and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And try to give you a little bit of reality. But at the end of the day, like, I think everybody experiences that, and the sooner you experience it, and then on the backside, the more support you have coming from us. I'm trying to like help you figure out how to make that idea work or how to come up with that next idea, is where like we try to focus, or at least, like, I can only speak for myself, but yeah, that's where I try to focus, is like,
Yep.
how can we build you up after you get kicked in the teeth? Because you're going to get kicked in the teeth a lot.
Yep.
Like, that is the part that comes with the territory, is you're going to get kicked in the teeth. I talk to people that are outside of the industry, and, it's not always polite.
Yeah.
It's not always like, oh, hey, you know what, Dave, I really just, this idea just isn't doing it for me. It's never like, the things I've heard in concept meetings, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially like, in times where I, stood 10 toes on my ideas and was like, I'm gonna stand up and fight for this. And then the aggression level from both parties, continues to build. And, you're in a creative environment where sometimes emotions fly.
Yep.
And so, like, those meetings, they can get a little testy sometimes,
Right.
Especially if you're really fighting for it. So I think, knowing that happens, and then being able to be there with, with open arms for the person when they come out the other side of it,
100%.
So yeah, it's crazy. I do think that's one of the craziest parts of this industry, is just literally like how much you get shitted on a daily basis, and how much your
The
ideas
rejection.
and thoughts.
Yeah.
The sheer amount of rejection that you face.
And you have to build up.
You
have to build up a tough skin. You have to build up. You have have to start to get used to that. I start to realize that just kind of happens, and like, nobody wants to work with the no guy. Nobody wants to work with the whatever, but it's like, because sometimes it just comes with no, but with no extra thought behind it, and no extra, like, no for what reason, or no why. Like, let's work it out, let's talk it out, let's have a real, session, and how do we get to something better? Like, just no doesn't really help. So like, going through these things and kind of helping each other and guiding each other to get to a good place and get to the resolve is always the place to be, not just being the person that just shits on things just to shit on it, just because your ego or your opinion kind of gets in the way. So that's why I like that we all want people to experience these things for themselves and to feel it, but then we also want to, like, how do we get to that next phase? And because we don't want to break somebody's egos or break somebody's creativity so bad that they lose their confidence, because I think, again, confidence is key, and that's how you actually really succeed in any industry, but especially this one too. It's like, you have to continue to find that passion and that fight every time, so that you can go back to the drawing board and come up with something even better than you just presented the last time that even maybe got killed. Because it does happen. Like, we love our things, we fall in love with it, that's the one, but then we go back to the drawing board, stay up another night, and the other one, we're like, oh shit, this
That's
one,
the one.
this
Yeah,
one's the
that's
one.
the
It's like,
one. Ooh.
so continuously these things kind of happen, and like, because if you're good at creative and you still are just as passionate, and you don't lose that and just kind of do it in spite, you create and find something really great again. So the idea is just to continue to go, and just to continue to push at it, and just don't lose that, that passion, that drive, and that energy for your own thought.
Yeah, one of the things that somebody told me, and I don't even remember who told me, but I was just kind of beaten down, and they said, the people that hire, they're not ideas people. So like, they approve the budget for ideas people, and when they kill your ideas, they just want more ideas. So just do that. Just give them more ideas. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense. Just like, that's my job, is to just provide more ideas. My job isn't to provide the idea. My job is to provide, more ideas, more and more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, a never-ending stop.
Yeah.
You are Sisyphus. The ideas is your boulder, and you are constantly pushing it up that hill.
Yeah.
That is just the name of the game. And like, as you go throughout it, like, you either crumble or you figure out how to, like, turn rolling that ball up the hill into a fun process. And one day you push it with your back and use just your legs, and the next day you work your arms as you go up, and you just continue to find new ways to push that ball up that hill. And I think one of the beauties for me is, like, especially from like a fashion point or whatever, is like, I don't, just because somebody killed my idea, that doesn't mean my idea or concept is done.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, like, going back into your own archive, because sometimes, maybe it was just too ahead of its time.
Yeah, wrong time, right?
Maybe
Wrong time, wrong place, kind of thing. And these things, you shouldn't like just get rid of them completely, because there's a time and a place for everything. And we've seen it with a lot of things, great products, even in the world. It's like they were ahead of their time. This one didn't really make it, but then 5 years later, the same exact thing pretty much was just kind of took a whole life of its own, and it happens all the time. So it's just people have to be ready for it, or the moment has to be right. And so yeah, you shouldn't, like you just said, bail on them. I think even like we were just saying, even building with people and ideas people versus not, and all this kind of stuff. I think everybody is a consumer. Everybody is a person at the end of the day, and I think learning how to like really befriend people and kind of really work with people is an interesting thing, right? Because it's like I see a lot in the industries where it's like we're just presenting to people, or this is the client, this is the whatever. And I think learning how to like how do you actually work together, and how do you actually like you really start to understand each other on a human and a people level. Because even then, when you get into these rooms with people that are on opposite sides, if industry and people start to work and learn to work together in that kind of way, or really build that relationship, you actually can get past the client, whatever presentation kind of mode, and actually start to really learn and build together and evolve and actually make some pretty incredible things. It's just a lot of times in industry, we're so separate and things move so fast that we don't have that chance or that time to kind of really do that. And then you see in relationships, like, Kyle and I's over this many years, it's like, it's such a long relationship, and we've learned how each other works and how each other talks and all these kind of things that we can really build from each other and respect, what each other brings to the table, because we've seen the ups and downs, and we've seen the successes and the failures and all these kinds of things. And, and we've ourselves even got into heated arguments on certain things where we've worked together as even roommates and work and play. And it's just like, you have to go through that to really start to build that rapport and that trust and that love. And
you've never fought with any of us for an idea.
I've never fought with any of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so nice.
Yeah.
You're always so gracious. Like, oh, that sounds good. Let's use that one.
Yeah. I think we've almost come to throwing hands
right
before. Like that was. I mean, we were young, passionate. We were trying to solve a problem, and we both were like, "This is the solution." It was not the same solution.
We might have broken a coffee table or something by mistake, whatever.
Maybe.
But it's love. It's family love. It's over all this time. It's just like
the little young cubs,
right?
The cubs fighting.
Like you said, passionate young cubs. That it's like you're so passionate about your thing that it's just like when they go at odds and they come to a head, it's kind of like you're wrong. You're wrong. No, fuck you. No, fuck you.
Fuck you. You're stupid.
And then it's like, all right, we just gotta like walk away for a minute. I could take a moment on the deck.
Yeah.
Go roll a joint.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, exactly. You just need to step away for a sec.
You gotta pass the peace pipe around,
right?
Try to calm down the nerves. I mean, ultimately, I think this was a great topic, Jackie. Thank you guys for having me. And I guess the only thing I would end it with is just like, just keep pushing. That's the ultimate goal for ideas and ideation, and how to stay creative is just keep pushing. Like, maybe don't get married to it, but never lose that passion that you have, and continue to keep pushing and building and growing, and you'll continually see like success, even if it's not in the moment you thought it was, or in the way that you thought it was going to happen. You just continue to push through the sea of no's, and you'll eventually find an island of yeses, and you can enjoy that for a while.
For the 5 seconds that last, the island of yeses, yeah.
I'm still trying to find that island of yeses. Meet me there. Put your bathing suit on. That's what we're trying to find. That's the ultimate goal. We've been talking about it for a bit. We're looking for that island of yeses where it's, sun's always shining and it's beautiful.
Well, thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for not giving away the surprise that it was you. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. It's always all love, and I love the hell out of you. And every conversation that we have, we can talk for hours and hours. So this podcast can go way beyond 30 minutes with us. We could talk for days. There's never a lack of words.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to have Kyle on again.
Yeah, we could definitely do more than just a mini cast for sure. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your weekend, and it was a pleasure.
Shot you soon. Love you.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.